All right, we're starting to record here. This is welcome to Rocket League Old Farts. This is a special Patreon patron perk where we're offering coaching sessions and replay reviews with kind of our in-house coaches and possibly more. So this first session will be Zeke the Elder and his teammate, who is also an Old Farts member, Rooba, Captain Rooba. So this will be kind of a 2-for-1 maybe. And our coach for this session is Trptman or Trumpet Man. I'll let him. I'll turn it over to him and let him explain his name and who he is. So go ahead.
All right, thanks, Skitch. Yeah, you can call me Trap, Trip, Terp, whatever. Kind of rolls off the tongue better. So we've got a replay loaded up from Zeke here. Zeke, I have a couple just quick questions for you before we get into it. So obviously this is a 2v2, but what rank are you playing at here?
This is a Diamond 1 lobby.
Diamond 1 lobby. All right. Where do you see, as you're playing, you see issues or challenges or obstacles that you maybe don't quite know how to deal with? What are some of the things in your game you think could be better? What do you think you're doing well? Super high level before we jump in here.
We struggle with corners,
Okay.
offensively and defensively, I think.
Okay, well, you're not alone. So, really, the focus here for these replays is not the mechanics. And what I mean by that is if you whiff an open net or you miss an easy touch or you just fly past the ball for whatever reason, it's pretty easy in the moment to recognize, yep, that was a mistake. I need to be better at that. I got to go into free play. But me pointing that out for you isn't going to help. What I'm really going to focus on is your awareness of the field, your mental image, and the accuracy in which you recognize what's happening around you. And so there are three primary things I'm going to be looking at that kind of all come together to impact your decision making and your positioning as you're playing. Number one is where are the other players on the field? Two, how much boost do those players have? And three, related to number two, what boost is available around the field, whether that's those small pads that give you 12 or the big pads that top you off to 100. So that's kind of what we're going to be focusing on. I'll be pausing the replay and kind of going through, maybe a weird spot happened or a weird challenge happened. What could you have seen leading up to that that may have helped you recognize that was going to happen? And if you had that information, maybe have played that a little bit differently. So let's start off here by just getting straight into the kickoff. So first thing to notice off kickoff, even before the game starts, or right when the game starts, is what is this back player doing? This is particularly important in twos, because that tells you what your options are. If the back player sits all the way back in net, and this ball spills out like it does, you know that you're first to the ball. If the back player is cheating up really hard, you know you might have to play for a 50-50. If the back player goes for corner boost, it might also be your ball, but that can change depending on what happens in the kickoff. So as you're playing, whether you're on kickoff or the cheating or the back player for your team, really make sure you're focusing on that second man for your opponent's team, because that's going to dictate what you do here, right? When I see this, you're beating, it looks like Nextiva or something to the ball. However, they are cheating up a little bit quickly, so you might not have as much time as you would if they maybe sat in net or went for boost. So that's the first thing you should look at right off kickoff to see how much time am I going to have on this ball, / can I even go for it right now? So you do have a little space. And I want to point something out here. So you're kind of circling in the midfield with relatively low boost, which maybe isn't the worst play in the world, but you could definitely be set up a little better. Take a look at the kickoff here. So after this kickoff, Vavo, I'm going to call him Vav, is pretty awkwardly flipping in the midfield. And that boost, it's a glitch right now, but that boost on the right-hand side is actually available. Since Rooba is landing to the left, pointing towards the left side, Rooba's going to either go for that left mid boost or circle around, maybe go for a back corner. You know that by taking the right mid boost, you're not starving your teammate. And that's the really important thing here on kickoff, is if you take that boost, it does two things. It leaves boost available for your teammate in the direction they're going to be going, but it also prevents Vav from taking that. I'm going to guess that Vav thought you were going to take that boost and ends up going back. But you would have been able to starve Vav, and also maybe in this position here, instead of having just a single pad or two, you might have actually had a little bit more boost to play with in this position. And now this is a tough challenge to go for. You've got to go back in shadow and kind of wait to see what happens. So keep that in mind off kickoff as well. Look at where those players are landing. Make sure you're not starving your teammate because you want them to be able to get back in the play quickly. But if you have an opportunity to starve an enemy player without putting yourself out of position or giving up the possession, do that every time. It puts a lot of pressure on your opponents. All right, I want to freeze here for a second. This play is a little bit awkward. So we get a touch into the corner. And right here, we can see Vex is in front of the ball, has no shot on target. And we had just seen the other player, Vav, kind of come behind us on the right-hand side. So that tells me that this ball isn't dangerous and Rooba's going to be the first one to it. Now, this is really important as you're playing, especially in 2v2, to think to yourself, is this ball dangerous? Can it be shot on target? And if it can, do I have to go for it? Or do I need to play a little bit more reactively and try to deal with whatever comes my way? In this case, based off of what we've seen, and I'll just go back one click here and replay here. So Vex flips over the ball, and on the right-hand side of the screen, we'll see Vav coming up and over. So Vav is going to be the one that's most able to shoot this ball on target quickly. So that's the person we have to watch out for. However, for the next 2 to 3 seconds, it's not scoreable, it's not dangerous. So that means you can take some time, you can let Rooba come in and make the play, conserve your boost in these situations, make sure you have resources for those situations that are...
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I feel like, so this is, again, a corner play. Mm-hmm. I feel like, should I have peeled off and rotated back post? Because I stayed on the ball. I was kind of panicking a little bit because he was moving it quickly and stuff. And Rooba comes and kind of bumps into me. And I just realized, like, maybe I feel like opportunity, I should have, like, I was just shadowing and then I could have just rotated.
Yeah, so let's watch Rooba here. So Rooba's in their corner because that's going to indicate whether or not you have to stay on the ball or you're not. Right there on the right-hand side of the field, you saw Rooba flip backwards, which means Rooba is going to be behind you at some point. So if you can kill a little bit of time, that gives Rooba the chance to get back behind you. Right here, when you turn your camera around and you see Rooba's not in that corner, you see he's not on the right-hand side of the field, that's a pretty good indication that Rooba's going to be somewhere back towards net. Right? If you know they're not here, and you know he's not here, he's going to be back in this area at some point. We can see that he is actually flipping back and making his way that direction. So maybe that's an indication for you in this position that I think you did need to get this touch because you don't want to put Rooba in 1v1. But once that ball is rolling into the corner like that, it's not necessarily as dangerous, and this may be a chance where you can peel off. That's hard to say because that's all happening really quickly. I don't think it's a bad play for you to go for this. To be quite honest, I would have loved to see Rooba actually go straight back to net here and just wait and see what happens. Give you the chance, since you are closer to the ball, give you the opportunity to make the play. And if you miss or you don't make the touch that you want to make, what I would love to see is Rooba kind of sitting right here in this near post, ready to follow up anything that happens, right? That touch goes into the corner, Rooba can come out and maybe has a shot or at least a pressure play downfield. So maybe a bit of an overextension by Rooba. I think you probably can go for that ball. It's hard for you to see that you shouldn't, or to decide that you shouldn't. I think it's just important to recognize that after that first touch that you made, the ball wasn't dangerous. And so maybe if you're not in necessarily the best position to go for it again, that might be a situation where you do leave that ball for Rooba.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. All right. So Vav comes in for a challenge. Got a little bit of time here. Take stock just really quickly. Do we know where the players are? We saw a player on our left going back towards maybe the mid boost or a near post position. Rooba is pushing up and likely going to go for this pass, and you're sitting here with 28 boost. Unless Rooba puts a shot on target and makes it challenging, you might be stuck in a situation where you are going to have to defend. So your priority here has to be positioning for a follow-up on Rooba's touch. So let's see what happens. So Rooba gets beat, and you do exactly that. You just land and get back as quickly as possible. And I like the rotation here as well, and I want to point this out because take a look at this in slow-mo, just so we have a second to talk about it. Vex is not in any position whatsoever to shoot this ball, right? Except for potentially a hard shot off of the sidewall that just rolls straight into the net, but those are pretty unlikely. We see nobody on the left-hand side here coming up to shoot that ball for blue. And so you do something really well here. This ball isn't dangerous. It's not in danger of being a shot on target. And Rooba's going to be back before you are. So what you do, which is really good, is you flip back towards that back post. And that gives Rooba the opportunity to push into the corner if he wants to. And now you're a little bit better spaced to cover something. Looks like it ends up being a shot on target anyway, but Rooba's able to make that clear. All right, so let's dissect this goal a little bit. I'm going to go up to a fly position up here. You mentioned corners are a challenging part for you. So generally in twos, you almost never want to challenge in a corner. And what I mean by challenge is if somebody has control or has the ball in the corner, you don't want to commit into that corner with them, both on offense and defense, because it's really tough to manipulate those 50s well. And especially in this particular situation, take a look at Rooba. So Rooba goes, and Rooba here is beat. Cleanly beat to the ball. And you're the last back. Rooba is actually going for mid boost, and Zeke, you're in a hard spot where you're in a 1v1, potentially a 2v1 pretty soon, and you have to find a way to buy your teammate a little bit of time to come back and back you up. By going into the corner, what you're doing is forcing the play early. You're forcing Vav to make the play. If you get the touch, maybe that's a really good play. But since Vav has control, they have options, and your only option by going into the corner is getting a touch or not getting a touch. And it has to happen the second you commit to it. Take a look at this from Vav's point of view. So Rooba makes the clear here. Vav can't shoot this ball, right? This ball isn't dangerous yet. Still not able to be shot. Maybe that goes on target, but Vav is not going to shoot that ball. He's looking for a pass, looking to throw that across the net. In twos, a lot of the times, instead of committing, you want to let the play develop around you, and hopefully it develops into a position where you are in a more favorable spot to get the touch, to get the challenge. In this particular scenario, I'd say a little bit of patience may have helped you. Number one, give you some more options to challenge at a better time than on the backboard. That's a hard touch to make, you know. At diamond one, I don't know that I would expect a lot of diamond ones to get up there and make that quickly. So you limit your options by going onto the backboard. And you also can see from your point of view here, actually I'll go back to, once Rooba makes this touch and misses that, the flip indicates to me that Rooba's not going to be back behind me anytime soon. So I have to slow down the play a little bit, buy a little bit of time, be a little bit more patient, and you know, the reality of the matter is you're in a hard situation no matter what, but sometimes that patience and letting the play develop around you gives you the opportunity to make a more informed decision later. So that's a position where maybe you could have actually saved that ball, or you could have mitigated the risk of that play. But again, by forcing the backboard touch, you just make that play happen quicker, which limits the time for your teammate to come back and help you out. All right, so you're on kickoff here. Okay, so take a look at the kickoff again. Make sure you're watching that back man. So Vav is cheating up here, which tells you a couple things. It means that touch is going to be awkward. We've all been in that position where you're cheating up and the ball just goes straight past you, pinches into the sidewall, and ends up maybe being on target. Rooba, we can see behind us, has also cheated up, and Vex, or the other player, has bounced off the ball and is out of the play. This, to me, is an aggressive position. This is one player's out of the game and one's awkward. I have a teammate coming up to help challenge and be aggressive. I want to make this situation as awkward as I can without getting in my teammate's way. So what are some options that we can do that with? Rooba is going for the ball. We know that. So that leaves us a boost or a player. In this case, the only viable player right here is Vav. I would say going for Vav isn't necessarily the best idea because he is going to be close to the ball and that could make things awkward for Rooba. But this back corner is wide open, right? We can trust that this ball is going to be in their half long enough for us to grab that back corner and rotate back into the play. If Rooba gets a single touch, that buys us time. Vex is going to probably be going back to net, but if this ball gets cleared, one of them is going to be looking for that corner. So let's kind of see see what you do here. Great, so you go get the corner. Vex is now out of the play, and you get the bump as well. So good play by Rooba. I liked the patience. It looked like you were going back post, ready to be a little bit more patient on that play. I'm going to pause here. This to me isn't going to be scoreable for you. It's just moving too quickly towards the backboard. So once you're able to realize that, take a quick scan of the field and see what's happening. Vav and Vex are both pretty far out of the play and rushing to get back. We don't know how much boost they have, but in this play I want to prioritize that corner boost and make sure that I grab that at all costs, or without putting myself horribly out of position. But I also need to realize that I don't have a teammate immediately center. So if I am going to look for a pass here, that needs to be a bit slower to give that teammate time to push into position and potentially score that. The alternative, if I don't want to risk a pass, which can be pretty risky in 2v2, is to grab that boost, maybe leave the ball or get an awkward touch and go for bumps, go for demos, make the other team uncomfortable without having to put a shot on target, right? Of course, a goal is the best thing, but what are the next best opportunities? So you do go in and try to get that boost, almost make the play. And Rooba has positioned in a little bit of an awkward way here. We'll take a look at this challenge. So Rooba is awkward. At this point, I would consider Rooba out of the play. Maybe they come down and push that ball over to the left-hand side of the field. But take a look at Blue's positioning. They're pretty far back. They're not challenging that instantly. And they're not challenging in a way that, a shot from that range probably is going to be savable. So it ends up being a beat, and I think this is another situation where maybe a little bit of patience would have helped you out, right? We know they're going to be rushing in for that touch. If you're all the way back in the net or close to, they are closer, they're coming up on the ball. If you can't get that beat, you're going to force Rooba into a tough position after, a little bit of an awkward recovery. Some more patience there may have helped you take more stock of the play, see what's happening, and then maybe make some more informed decisions. Instead, we're in the midfield. Rooba is having to defend, and they end up pushing it over, which is a little bit of a lucky break for you. All right, so Rooba goes for the demos, but doesn't get the demo. Another situation here where Vex is looking like they're closer to the ball. We'll take a look at it from just a top down, right? Vex is closer. You have, I think, a bit more momentum. But to me, this would be a challenge by you, Zeke, in the corner. Because Vex is going to get there first and likely be able to pick up that boost. We know Rooba has just come across the net and isn't behind us yet. So this is a situation where you have to play not for a goal and not for pressure play, but for time. Give Rooba the time to recover, grab boost, maybe get a bump on the way out. One of the best ways you can do that is a fake challenge, especially in the corner. If they just roll that up the wall, that buys you a lot of time. So you do fake challenge, and arguably the worst outcome on the 50-50 you could have gotten, but it still bought a ton of time. It's awkward for Vex. Vav isn't quite on it, and that gives Rooba the time to come back. And there he is rotating on the right-hand side. So well played there. That was a good decision not to push into the corner. Okay, this is great. I'm just pausing for a second to point it out. You're not committing in the corner. You're playing patient, waiting to see what your teammate does. This is perfect. If that ball goes on net, you likely can save it. If it spills out into the midfield, you're there before Vex is. If it just sits in the corner for another, 3-5 seconds, you're back with full boost, ready to help out whenever you need it. So great play here. Ends up being a pressure play. All right, take a look at Rooba. This is important. So one of the things I was talking about is knowing how much boost the players have. Rooba, we see the left corner boost up, so we know he hasn't taken that. We see Vav is about to take the middle boost, and Vex looks like, well, that corner boost on their side really isn't relevant right now. But Rooba is not boosting here. Still not really boosting, using a little bit here and there. To me, that looks like Rooba's out of boost. Actually has 66, so obviously not always going to be accurate, but you have to be watching out for that. It seems strange to me that Rooba is boosting up going up the side of the field here without boosting. So obviously, if you're in comms and you can tell each other, oh, I've got half boost or 60 boost, that's great. But you also have to be able to read the player and say, they're not boosting, so I have to play as if they don't. If they do, great, they can get back and back me up. But if I'm playing as if they don't, then I'm playing to buy time for someone who's going to be slower than if they had full boost. Rooba's also sticking around here. Now commits to the rotation back. A little bit of a misflip there. It happens. And ends up getting a goal. I'm going to go ahead and watch this from Rooba's perspective just so we can focus on the kickoff a little bit. Okay. Question for you. Where is their back player?
He's in net.
Okay, let's watch that again. So watch Vex here. So yeah, kind of in the middle of net and cheat. Vex has done this twice now where they actually push up a little bit, but a cheating player should be right between these two boost pads. I would expect Vex to be a little bit further back. I don't know that that's quite in net, but it's good to keep in mind because it's happened twice now. So that means if you're cheating up hard, you know that you're going to have the beat no matter what, as long as that ball spills out relatively evenly. So keep that in mind. Watch for those patterns as well in other players. Vex has shown that they like to cheat, but only a little bit, and you can use that to your advantage, or at least use that as information to make decisions later on. So same situation here. Vav is landing towards the boost. Rooba is landing away from the boost. I'd love to see a boost steal in the mid here. I like that you took that from Vex. And take a look at this. This is potentially going to be dangerous in a second or two, but isn't right now. So I like that you took your time. One thing to point out is that boost steal that you got in the corner, even though Rooba's a little bit slow getting back, that boost steal is what let you get back in time and get into a position where you can take stock of the situation and say, yeah, it's not quite dangerous yet, but it might be soon. Vex is pushing up, so you do have to go get in the way. You attempt to, it ends up going over, and this ball is in the corner. And I'll point out, this is technically shootable. There are players that can make a shot from that angle, but you have to ask yourself, numbers game, what is the chance that a player at this rank, based off of their rank alone, or maybe what I've seen from them in the last minute and a half, what is the chance that they put this ball on target in a way that I can't save? I would guess it's pretty slim. I don't expect Vav to smash that top corner near post. It's possible, but don't be afraid to take bets on, I'm going to play this patient and let it develop, knowing if it goes on target, I can probably save it, and there's a relatively low chance that I can't save it. Especially since Rooba's committed into your corner, you are the last line of defense right here. So check to see where Vex is, that's great. And you've got a bit of a breakaway. Something to point out, we just saw that boost spot on our left. We also saw, take a look at Vex here. Vex is landing. Vex is going to grab that boost, and you're going to have to watch out for a demo. Keep that in mind. If that boost doesn't spawn or Vex is not there, I might not be as worried about a demo here. But to me in this position, I have to be careful of a player coming up quickly behind me. Vex ends up going and taking the mid boost, but just something to keep an eye on, right? Where are the players? Where's the boost? That player might have boost to come demo me. I like the patience here. All right, quick note. You can take this mid boost on the left without putting yourself out of position. Rooba doesn't take it. And this challenge, Vav is probably going to go take that. However, with the speed that you're coming in at and the angle that you have, you can grab that boost and get back into the midfield without compromising your position, especially since Vex is all the way back in net. A boost here may be a bit more of a high-level thought process, and maybe not something you're thinking about as consciously, but a boost steal here will slow down Vav's recovery. Rooba's probably going to take their corner boost, I would imagine. And now you've got a 2v1 where both your team is full boost, and one of their players is recovering slowly. So Rooba actually gets the beat anyway, ends up being a goal. So you didn't need the boost steal, but if that's not a goal, then just something to keep an eye on. All right, so watch back player here. Back player cheats up, ball goes to the back player. Rooba's probably going to come in and take that mid boost or go straight for ball, because he has cheated up on the majority of these, so it's safe to assume he is this time. So this to me, this position is, I don't know what's going to happen. My teammates beat to the ball. I don't know what's going to happen. I need to get back, grab a couple pads. I probably can't get a mid boost because it looks like Vex is bouncing off to the left. And probably going to beat me to that mid boost. So I need to grab a couple pads and get back into position. A little bit aggressive here. Again, by committing that far to the midfield, what you're giving yourself the option for is a pinch that goes, or a 50 that goes into the midfield. Something to think about in the corners is if you think about the corner as, you know, cardinal direction, so that's north, west, south, and east. A 50-50 in the corner, we'll just say for simplicity's sake, can go one of four ways. It can go north, south, east, or west, right? In this corner, if that ball goes north, it bounces off to where you are. If it goes east, it bounces, or excuse me, west, it bounces off to where you are. But if it goes out towards the midfield or the sidewall, it's going to hit this corner and bounce back away from you. And obviously, if it bounces back this way, it's going to go behind you. So that's a 50-50 chance the ball comes out into the position that you're in without even considering how fast that ball is going to be, how high it's going to be, how quickly your reaction time is, whether there's a player back that might be able to challenge it. So I would say this is a bit of an aggressive position in the corner to be up this far, especially with Vav right on that ball, because there's roughly a, you know, at best a 50-50 chance it comes into a place that's scoreable for you. With you being 2 up, I don't know that that's a risk you necessarily need to take right now. This ball ends up, let's see here, ends up pinching out into the midfield, almost a goal. And it's a good save by Rooba. Let's look at this. So this probably should have been a goal against you.
Yeah, I should not have committed to this. As I jumped, I was like, this was really stupid.
Okay, fair play. Yep, you see it. So Rooba's right there. At a higher rank, Vex is going to put that on target a little bit quicker and probably beats Rooba. Okay, this is a great
Well,
position.
I feel like at this rank, they would have put it in. He just flopped.
Yeah, exactly. He just made a little bit of mechanical misplay. Happens to everyone. But when you go up on the wall here and you turn around, this gives you a lot of information. We know that Rooba's back in net because we just saw him make the save. This turn here opens up your camera for a really wide angle, and you can see Vav is facing the play. Vex is going away from the play. I only have to worry about Vav right here, unless Vex makes some weird instant turn and just rushes me. However, the thing to note is that mid boost is up, so I can be pretty sure Vav is going to have full boost and be the first person challenging me. So you might be able to take a little bit of time, but it might not be as much as it looks like from this initial scan. So let's see. So yep, Vav is right there. I like that you position behind it, get the 50. And good save as well. So this is good patience too. That ball wasn't scoreable by Vav, so you just waited to see what happened, especially with Rooba committed in the corner. A bit of a risky play to throw it across net, but you're doing well playing patient, conserving your boost, biding your time, and looking for opportunities. So here, this position is the first time that you're on offense in a few seconds, maybe 30 seconds or so. It's important to know where Rooba is because that's going to dictate what you can and cannot go for. So Rooba's pushing far up. We know that he didn't pick up a mid boost because we saw that mid boost was gone before he got there. And he's flipping into their corner. To me, we see right there Rooba may have picked up corner boost. I don't know if Vex beat him to it. I just know my teammate's in their corner, and that's about it. I need to buy a little bit of time. Whether that means a quick challenge to make it awkward for them or a fake challenge doesn't particularly matter as long as both of them are safe. In this position, I like the quick challenge because that ball is bouncing back towards you on the corner wall, which means it's easier for you to get to it than it is for an opponent to get to it. I'll take a top-down look here. So ball comes across, bounces off the corner wall and straight back to you. Even with Vex going full speed and trying to get a read on where you're going to play it, that's still a relatively easy play, for a relatively easy beat for you to make. So well played there. Sometimes a fake challenge is better. And And another scenario, real quick, I'll point it out, where I think you're a bit aggressively positioned. Rooba doesn't look all that comfortable here, right? That ball's bouncing, it's going into the corner. Vav is pushing up relatively heavily. We don't know exactly where it's going to go. So hanging out near post, giving yourself options might have been a safer play there. Great fake challenge.
Should I have gone back post on that? I'm sorry. Can we rewind like
Yeah.
2 seconds or like because I've like watching it now. It's like, yeah, I came in way too much, and if that had bounced off the wall differently, it would have made it super awkward. And I feel like
Yeah.
maybe back post would have been better.
Back post can be good when the ball's in the corner, and this maybe is a bit of personal preference. I like to be right around here because I don't want that to roll quickly or come up and over me. Generally, this rank, what people are going to do is they're going to just roll the ball along the corner. If you're here, so kind of think of it as, you know, maybe 2 wheels off the goal line, 2 wheels in the goal, roughly, or slightly in front. That gives you options. If you think about the turning radius of a car in Rocket League, it's really not a huge angle. So if you're here, right, if you're out a little bit further, I know this is tough. I wish I had a better way to demonstrate this. But if you're a little far off your goal line, your turning radius really only gets you to about here. You can't cover the really, really near post. However, if you are near post, if that ball rolls across towards the back post, it's relatively easy for you to turn left a little bit and come out and meet that. The only shot that's really, really tough to save in this scenario is far post top corner or some sort of top shelf on the right side. So from your position, where you are right now is pretty good. That gives you opportunities to cover the near post and the far post, but it doesn't give you as many opportunities to cover the near post as it would if you were just a little bit closer to that near post. So on the full rotation, I don't know that you need to go back post, especially since you are on that near side already. But just hanging out and letting the play develop may have felt a bit safer, maybe a little bit less awkward for you in the moment as well. All right, so this is another one of those examples of you come up on the wall, you turn, and you have a wide sweeping view of the field. These are great because they give you a lot of information. You quickly see mid boost is up on my right, if from your side, the right side here, the close side. It's gone on the left, which means Rooba probably took it. I'm going to play as if they did, maybe not, depending on your risk tolerance. Both corners are up, and Vav has the ball. Rooba's far back, not able to challenge anytime soon. I have to think to myself, do I trust Rooba? Do I know how they play? Do I know that they're going to be able to buy me a little bit of time here? If so, I might be a little bit more aggressive off the ball, go for a bump, a demo, a boost steal. If not, if I'm worried Rooba's going to rush in quickly and force that play to happen sooner rather than later, then it might be a situation where I have to path back, grab a couple pads, and just park up and help them out. You're going to know your teammate's playstyle better, especially since I know this is a teammate that you play with quite regularly. So if you know Rooba's really good at fake challenging and buying you time, that might be an indication that you can be aggressive off the ball. If not, then maybe you just have to get back quickly. So let's kind of see how this plays out. So Rooba does force the challenge, and that ends up being a goal. Really quickly, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I'll show this from Rooba's perspective as well. Same concept of, is this ball dangerous? Right now, if Rooba continues his trajectory back towards net, and Vavo puts a screamer on target, maybe Rooba doesn't save it, but anything else, Rooba probably has the mechanics and the skill to save. So if I were Rooba here, I would love to let this play develop a little bit more. Instead, by forcing it early, it gives Vav the go-ahead to play quickly. If he positions awkwardly, it makes Vav have to slow down and thus buys you time as his teammate to get back. So just another example of where maybe a bit more patience, especially in this rank, when you can trust people not to have insane mechanics, so he's not going to catch that and flick that top corner at 112 kilometers per hour, more likely than not. Slowing down the play a little bit and playing patient, especially when your teammate is committed like that, gives them a lot more time and opportunity to not only come back and back you up, but help you out maybe, again, with that aggressive play off the ball. All right, keep an eye on Vav here. That's the back player. So Vav cheats up and a little bit farther than Vex has been. Okay, so a couple things to think about here. Going for that corner boost is probably a safe play because it rolls really quickly into your back corner. The only thing I'll say here is, and this comes with practice, work on using the field to your advantage as you're gathering boosts, right? If we just take a look at, what is this, Champions Field here, right? No, this is DFH Stadium. Whatever it
DFH?
is. Yeah. So DFH is great because if you look at the mid boosts, this line leads you straight to it. If we look at the corner boost, you have this little line indicator that leads you straight to the boost. And the boost hitboxes are relatively large, so if you're roughly in the right place, you'll grab it. The other thing that you can pay attention to is from your point of view, right here, when you know roughly where the boost is, or even if you know that you're driving straight at it, turn your ball cam back on. Because up until this point, we don't know what's happening. And even here, when you turn your ball cam back on, it takes a second or two to realize what's going on and what might be happening. Okay, so quick scan of the field, make sure we just know where players are. You have a little bit of time here because they're both facing away from the play. Vex is the closest to facing the play, but Vav is closer to the play. This is awkward for both of them, so let's, slow down, take your time. So the 50 ends up going straight in. I don't know, what, if you remember this game, what was your kind of thought process here? What's going through your mind?
I thought I had time. I didn't call this challenge. I saw him pointed away, so I was going to try and dribble it, but I just really awkwardly couldn't get the dribble going off the alley like that. You know, it's mechanical.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's tough. Those challenges are always hard because if you're on the outside of the ball, there's just always that danger that it pinches straight back towards your net. Honestly, I wouldn't have expected Vav to instantly turn and go for that either, so I think, you know, it's a good play by Vav because you weren't expecting it. Would it work multiple times? Probably not, especially if you realize it early on. So, you know, it's unfortunate that this ends up being the game-winning goal. But I think the thought process there was pretty sound.
But can we go back and look at Rooba? Why was he pushed up so far?
Because he thought, we talked about it after the goal scored, he thought I had picked up the dribble. Because, like, yeah, we do play together a ton. And he's used to me getting better dribbles than this. And he saw that and he thought, oh, I've got control. So he was moving more aggressively. And when I just lost the 50 in the net, like, we were done.
Something you two might want to experiment with a little bit, especially since you do play together. There's a lot of, I would say, needless passing happening in twos in general. I haven't seen it as much in this game, apart from maybe just, it looks like Rooba's looking for a pass here. In my experience, and you can totally correct me if you think this is wrong or if you've had a different experience, Diamond 1 up to about Champ 2 or Champ 3, players often aren't looking for their teammates unless they have no other options. More often than not, players want to pick up the ball, they want to go for a flick, they want to go for a solo play. And so positioning aggressively here, what that does is it puts you both on the same latitude or longitude, however you want to think about it. If you think of kind of these like dark green lines and lighter green lines as rungs on a ladder almost, it puts you closer to the same distance up the field. And maybe Rooba's covering a little bit more of the right-hand side here, but generally you two are in a similar spot. So if Rooba's going to cheat up like this, he's got to be a bit further out to cover part of the field that you can't. But better yet, positioning about a quarter to a third of a field behind you. So if you're at the midfield, he's, you know, right at the quarter field or even a little bit further back to help cover those longer shots. You want to put yourself in positions where you're covering, especially if a teammate is trying to dribble and there's a chance they're going to get 50'd. A teammate like Rooba here wants to put himself in a position to cover the worst case scenario. Especially in this situation, you're tied up, you've got 30 seconds left, you don't need a goal instantly, you don't need as much of an aggressive positioning here from your teammate. So yeah, Skitch, maybe a good point. Rooba probably could have stayed a bit further back here and played that more patient to let the play develop. But I also understand if you're used to your teammate making those plays and, you know, 7 times out of 10 they do beat the first player, then maybe that makes a bit more sense for Rooba to go for it. But generally in twos, and this is maybe more of just speaking at a high level instead of this game, positioning for the pass here is essentially committing your entire team to one play. And in threes, we call that a triple commit, and nobody likes to triple commit. So think about that as well, especially as the supporting player. Position for a place where your teammate can't cover. You're covering a challenge over here on this close left-hand side. Rooba's covering kind of a challenge and a little bit more to the right, but not a whole lot of the rest of the field.
He may have also been thinking like we'd have a 2v1 and going for a demo.
Yeah, and again, I wouldn't have expected a challenge there, to be honest, the way that Vav was positioned beforehand. So I think you probably made, if we go by the textbook, the right play. It just ended up working out because it was so unexpected, right?
Yeah, I would chalk it up to like mechanical fail on my part with the ball. Really.
Sure, and yeah, maybe if you pick that ball up and you flick it quicker, or you get behind it and have a better 50 hitbox, maybe it doesn't happen like that. But again, mechanics are something you've got to just go grind out. It's hard to really improve mechanics by watching replays. You can see where your mechanics need work, but then you've got to go get a training pack or a free play or dribbling challenge or something like that. So ends up being a goal. Unfortunate again that it is the game-winning goal. But let's see if there were some opportunities to tie it up here in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, man, the last 10 seconds get wild.
All right, let's go ahead and just watch the full 30 seconds here, and then we'll go back and talk about a few things. So some not so patient play from Rooba.
Oh,
okay, so
Yeah.
it's close. It's close.
Yeah.
Ouch.
All right, yeah, that one hurts. My apologies to you. Let's go look at your first attempt on net here. I think it was right around the 18-second mark. Actually, it was a little bit earlier. So you have some space. You choose to take it to the air, which isn't the worst play. A couple things to think about. Number one, mechanically, if you feel confident in that play, go for it. If not, maybe especially a goal down, you need to think about a higher percentage play. The other thing, from an aerial perspective, when you've got two players back like this, as you rank up, maybe not so much in this rank, but in mid-champ up to GC and higher, the minute you pop that ball, one of them is going to jump instantly with the intent to just make it as uncomfortable for you as possible. If this is a 1v1 or they're both rotating back, maybe that air dribble is a bit of a higher percentage play, assuming you have the mechanics to pull it off successfully. With two players back like this, more likely than not, one of them is going to instantly jump and either try to get a ball touch, which then almost guarantees it doesn't go into the net, or a bump, which then leaves the other player just to clean up a lobber straight at you. So it ends up being, I think, off target over to the right-hand side. Yep, so not quite the first touch you needed. But maybe a higher percentage play there could have served you better.
Yeah, looking at it now, I definitely should have tried to dribble and flick. Like I was panicking a little bit, and I had way more space than I realized.
Yeah, and believe me, it's so hard to recognize that in game. We just got scored on by a really unfortunate 50, and we've got a score. We've got 30 seconds left. You're just trying to go. So not easy to do, but take a look just really quickly. We know both players are heavily committed, so that's information that we need to file away. And remember, if there's a breakaway or an open net, we have to take that shot. But there also might be a challenge coming in quickly by one of these players just trying to kill enough time. Rooba dives in. I like the bump attempt there. I think a boost steal would have also been a good play here, just because we know that Vex, or Vav, is not going to get mid boost because Vex took that. Is going to have corner boost, maybe not as relevant with 3 seconds left, but if that stops them from getting up and clearing a ball, that might be game, right? So Vex is really awkward. I would say the boost is more important than Vex's positioning here for me. It just doesn't look like Vex is really comfortable making any sort of great touch anytime soon. And if we go back one more time here, Rooba is pushing up. Rooba can touch this ball. Rooba can follow up on that ball. So a boost steal or a bump, again, neither one is a horrible play. The bump ends up giving Rooba a chance. But just something to think about there. Vav now has full boost because we can see that it's not there. He's picked up that full. And ends up touching. So pretty unfortunate sequence of events there. I think Rooba probably, going back, would have wished that he scored that and thought it was scoreable and would likely consider that a mistake, but it happens to all of us. So I will go ahead and pause there for a second. If you have some questions or want to look at something else, or if anyone else wants to jump in, feel free.
No, that was great. Thank you very much. And you actually helped us out with the replay a couple days ago, and we've been trying to like incorporate a bunch of that stuff too.
Okay, good. Yeah, hopefully it's pointing a couple things out that maybe you haven't thought about before or haven't really needed to think about. I think the biggest thing, especially in this rank, a lot of people just like to go fast. They want to feel fast. They want to feel confident. They want to feel like they're in control of the game. But their mechanics aren't quite up to speed to be able to back up that thought process. And so a lot of times, especially at the high plat to low diamond and getting into, I would say, low champ, players are going to go faster than their mechanics are capable of keeping up with. And you can take advantage of that in a lot of ways. It doesn't really feel all that glamorous because you end up just rolling the open nets into the back of the net. But if you let players play at the speed that they want to and then just capitalize on the mistakes by being a little bit more patient and forcing them to make the play and misplay mechanically, that will a lot of times give you opportunities that wouldn't come normally if you're just trying to go all the time.
Or you could just blame your teammate.
Yeah, no, that's a great strategy as well. Just every single teammate you get is terrible. Gotta stop queuing up with this guy.
Get him off the server.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, thanks for the replay. Right. Hopefully that was helpful. And I think we'll call it.
All right, Zeke. Thanks for subjecting yourself to the.
Oh man, no, dude. Anytime. Thank you. This is the only
now
way to get better.
A Patreon private match with demos. Instant demos?
On contact demos.
Yeah. Boom. All
right, we'll wrap up this replay review. Thanks, Trptman, for going through it and providing some good insight. And anybody who's watching this on the Twitch replay or the YouTube, feel free to reach out to any of the coaches you see online, set up some replay reviews, and if you want sessions like these with the other Patreon members, check out the links below. And catch you next time. Thanks.
Thanks, Trptman. Thank you.